Hey there, my name is Sage and I'm making this game, an Armored Core inspired roguelike called Riot. In this video, I'll be talking about the recent playtesting I've been doing, the changes resulting from it, and my plans for the game going forward. Before we get into the devlog, I also just want to let you all know that the Steam open playtest for Riot is available to play and will stay up until the demo releases. The demo will also never be taken down once it becomes available. That means you can play the game right now. You'll find links to Steam and itch in the description if you'd like to check it out. Alright, grab your favorite video watching snack and let's get into the devlog. We'll start with some fun stats. 2,300 people were signed up when the playtest started. Between then and now, the number of people registered for the playtest has gone up to 4,460, though the amount of people who actually played it is sitting at just over 2,500. The game has also gained about 2,000 new wish lists since the beginning of the playtest, with many of those seeming to be related to a Twitter post showing footage of the game that I had no involvement in. Prior to the playtest, I added a feedback form to the game so that I could hopefully capture more feedback. This form has received 56 responses, which have collectively given me a great picture of what works and what needs work. The median playtime for the playtest is currently 25 minutes, though I am also aware of a number of people in the 20 to 40 hour range. Alright, now let's get into what I learned. Let's start with the good. The feature I received the most positive feedback about was the movement, which is not surprising, but is very encouraging, especially given how many more people have now played the game. I also received a lot of positive feedback about run diversity and the roguelike mechanics. This was a big deal to me because I had been working hard to improve those, so it's good to know that things are moving in a positive direction, even with balance being in progress and the game only containing a fraction of the content I'm planning for launch. Now, onto the bad. I still consider it good to have received this feedback, to be clear, since knowing what needs to improve is half the battle. Melee. My implementation of the melee weapons in Riot has always been a little controversial. When the player performs a melee attack, I don't do anything to move them toward an enemy or adjust their aim. I feel that it's fun to have some skill expression around the use of melee weapons, and in my experience, the weapons tend to perform much better at the higher ends of play, which is right in line with what I was going for. However, I've received a lot of feedback about how bad it feels at present, so I'll be making some changes to bring the melee experience more in line with folks' expectations, hopefully without compromising my vision for the system too much. Notably, people do like the recently added kick mechanic, so I do at least have a decent reference of something that does work. Menus and UI. Now there are some layers here. First, I received feedback that the menus were clunky and unintuitive. Most of this was in relation to the reward selection and equipment menus the player encounters mid-run, so where you mess with your weapons and volatile mods. I've made some changes already with the aim of improving clarity and reducing the complexity of what the player sees on each given menu, and these changes do seem to have helped. Second, I received feedback that players wanted ways to better understand their stats, so I've added a system that provides individual explanations for every stat in the game. Mech gamers are willing to put in the time to learn, but they can't get very far if you don't actually provide the necessary information anywhere. I think this system will go a long way toward bringing more players up to speed on how everything works. A number of people mentioned that the in-game font was hard to read. I've since replaced it with something much clearer, and I've also added the option to switch back to the old font in case anybody prefers it. This was per feedback from the game's Discord. I've also received feedback from some people that the menus are ugly. I plan to take another swing at menu visuals eventually, but it's not a super high priority at the moment. Just know I'm aware and do plan to do another pass, though I will admit UI design is not a strong suit of mine. Onboarding. I was encouraged by how many people seemed to play the tutorial. However, I received a lot of feedback mentioning that folks felt confused about their objectives and other aspects of the normal gameplay loop. This makes sense, because the tutorial really only goes over the game's controls. I was initially under the impression that roguelikes could get by without much of an in-game tutorial about the gameplay loop, but it seems that that is not the case for Riot. With that in mind, I will be redoing the tutorial so that folks have a better idea of what to expect during actual gameplay. Expect that to be in place when the demo drops. Between tutorial improvements, detailed stat descriptions, and clarity improvements to various menus, I'm hoping that the new player experience can be majorly improved in future updates. The median playtime of the playtest, as mentioned before, was 25 minutes. This is not awful, however it is still well below my target. I'd love to get this up to closer to 40 minutes, with the dream being to get over an hour. Miscellaneous. I also received feedback about a ton of other things that are a bit harder to categorize, including sound design, enemy location and attack signaling, a number of bugs, many systems that don't explain themselves well, and more. Rest assured that I'm taking all of these seriously, even if I don't mention them here. By the way, if you'd like to be more involved with the development of Riot, you should consider joining the Discord. I've been really impressed at how positive and fun the community has become, and if you're interested in this game, you'll almost certainly fit right in. The link is in the description. Now for an update on the overall state of the game's development. My current goal is to have a more polished demo build ready by mid-September, so that I can have an improved build ready in time for Steam Next Fest in October. If I don't make that timeline with the demo, I'll have to delay the game until sometime after the first Next Fest next year. Not something I want at all, but I will not release an incomplete game. Notably, I'm not actually worried about having the full game done in time, only that I won't have the demo ready in time. The game is so heavily systems driven that it really doesn't take all that long to add content. It's just a question of getting all those systems finished in time. Additionally, I've actually recently taken the first steps of actually using money from the Patreon. I'll be commissioning Stunky, the community member who made all the new rig models, to make even more rigs and weapons. I was excited to find a way to use the money earned via the Patreon to improve the game, even without it being enough for me to go full or part-time. Thanks to the members of the game's Patreon for helping make this all possible, and special thanks to Bill Nye the Bounty Guy for supporting at the operative tier. If you'd like to help support the game's development as well, you can find the link in the description. If you made it this far, thanks for watching and being part of this awesome project. You're the coolest, and I can't wait for you to see everything I have in store for Riot in the future.